all the reason why the numbers are different, but I know that those were two of the things.
I guess just what's going through my mind, if the phase one project came in $600,000 over what the village had initially authorized as the amount to pay for it, then is $500,000 on this slightly more expensive project a reasonable number, or if your recommendation should be that the village actually authorize a higher borrowing than $500,000.
Right. Actually, if you look at the total 3 contracts from phase one, what the actual contracts were for, and how much contingency was spent, I pulled those numbers up. It's about 3.6% total across the board. Some of the 3 contracts that needed additional contingency to complete the construction. I think a different way to look at it. So that's kind of where we got some of the, we like, maybe Corey, you can answer, we like to see a minimum of 5% going into a project. I mean, more is better, for sure.
Yeah, more is better. From our wastewater projects in the past, typically we go in planning to have 10%, and then at a minimum like see 5%. Because when things occur out in the field, and decisions have to be made, you want to have that money available to be able to move forward. There's going to be some unforeseen things. Probably under the ground that we can't see today. They've been run across in phase one, but yeah, typically it's the 5%. We like to see as a minimum to have there as a threshold.
Right, and that's exactly my concern. Simply, if 5% is the minimum threshold, doing the quick math, right, $500,000 is a little more than 5%. Should we say to the board, if you're going to do the project, at a minimum do 5%, but consider doing 10%, so authorize an additional borrowing of $8.85 million, just to be, or excuse me, $885,000, just to be on the safe side. And because again, it's in the middle of the project, if we run up against the limit, then that's too bad.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if you're not committing on using it, have it available.
Yeah, you just have it authorized if need be, and again, it would be towards the tail end of the project when you're, at the tail end of the construction phase.
What's your past experience on change orders, et cetera, in this arena? Have a change order. I know it depends on the site, depends on the ground. If we ran into, in the spirit of the 800,000 versus the 500,000, we've done these before, right?
Right, absolutely, and it really just depends on the project. Some are more, some are less.
Hard to say, right?
We had one project completed a couple years ago, Village of Philadelphia, New York. We designed and built a brand new SBR sequential batch reactor plant. And knock on wood, the construction of that facility, we did not have one single change order general contractor. It's pretty rare. Now that's the exception. On the other hand, sometimes it can go the other way. But like Corey said, rule of thumb, we like to have at least a 5% contingency for unforeseen change orders.
And then I know one of the reasons that the board was also hesitant to move forward several months ago was because of the concern that the numbers would come in too high. And the board was also concerned, and by too high, I mean potentially exceeding the budget, exceeding, the 8 point whatever we had left. The board, I think, was also interested in members who've been on it slightly longer might recall, saying, well, let's go out to bid anyway to see where we are. And depending on where we are, ESC might be willing to rescope the project as authorized or something. There might not be any issues if the board chose to not do phase 2 because the project wasn't feasible economically. Now, given you're only $7,203.83 from the remaining amount of the budget, have you had conversations with ESC about what if the village says, let's now move forward with phase 2?
Well, we had those conversations during the 2 work halls. We had numerous conversations with them. And they actually had to gather the legal department.
But since they'd opened, no, we haven't had those following conversations with us.
I just bring that up, kind of what the board, several months ago was thinking. And to give you some more information, if the board has to, or excuse me, if the board considers increasing the allowed, amending the resolution to allow for a greater borrowing, I believe that it's subject to a permissive referendum, I think. And my office didn't handle that borrowing because of simply the dollar size on it. I mean, overall it's a 16 point, whatever it is, $1 million borrowing. So if it's subject to a permissive referendum, then the board will need to pass a resolution, which would be sometime later in October, and that would be subject to the residents of the village filing a petition to hold a vote on the question of whether to allow the increase in contingency. And it would just be on that additional dollar portion of it. But that is something that could happen. I guess I would hesitate to award a contract. I mean, that would be another contingency if we award it tonight, contingent on legal approval, and then I would say also on the authorization of a contingency amount of whatever it is by the voters or by the village board at a later date. I mean, there's still some questions that have to be kind of resolved, and I don't know if you guys, I mean, that's for you to discuss, of course, whether you're in a position to say, all right, let's move forward with the project.
I just interrupt for one moment. So we've had discussions with the 4 low bidders and to make sure that they're comfortable with their bids, and they are, they have to honor those now. And they have to honor those prices contractually for 60 days from bid opening. So that gets us into roughly Thanksgiving. They will be held to holding those bids.
So I think with that in mind, the board knows that you've got at most 60 days from when the bids were open, right?
Yeah, September 24th.
So September 24th or 25th. Less now. So if you're going to consider increasing the authorized borrowing amount, then we'll need to get bond counsel retained pretty quickly to put paperwork together for your next meeting so that everything can get advertised as necessary for any referendum requirements. Assuming again that you decide to move forward with a project that has a contingency, and it sounds like, that's the engineer's recommendation. I know from experience, you definitely want a contingency because you can't expect that, that one miracle project is going to be the
Right.
You guys have any?
Just a couple of things. We are in conversation with bidders, continuing to do any value engineering if possible. Can't make any promises, but by working, once contracts are awarded, with the contractors, that we can work together to find any ways of doing things more economical, we'll pursue those options. Also, in talking with Jerry for the past week and Tracy at the plant, they've been receiving increased amounts of septage, which this project is all about. Jerry can speak more to that, but I believe August was a record month at about 520,000 gallons.
550.
So those are all good signs.
Because I think last time we had kind of a table of septic and the revenue streams and the cost increases. And more septic come in, we have the ability to lower costs. Plant can take out 45,000 gallons a day, but that's big from what you're currently taking in.
That is a good number though, because with these housing projects, that's the question. Sewer plant to handle the added volume of 100 people in regards to plus 4 units.
And one other thing, I think Drake speak to it, currently I believe your biosolids, you land apply, but unfortunately this year it's been so wet, you've had to store it, so now you're taking that, I think Dixon's taking it to the landfill.
Correct, yeah, we've been loading dumpsters and it's been going out and, there's a substantial cost on every ton that leaves the plant in that capacity. So, not land applying is really, that's an issue with the Class B. So, we do the project and move it to a Class A, well, there's already, individuals or companies that are lined up, willing to come and take it for nothing.
So I just kind of like a general comment. I'm not resistant at all. Personally, I would feel more comfortable with more contingency. That's just my personal opinion. It's a big project. I don't know how many months the period of performances they plan on having, but I think 500K is not enough. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
So if the board is gonna consider approving the project with an additional amount to be financed, then I think if you have a discussion tonight about what the number would be, so I can, when we contact Rod, I'm forgetting his name, but I know
Randy?
Randy Mayer, so we can let Randy Mayer know what the number is that he needs to use to put this resolution in front of the board at this next meeting. Well, and then that's the discussion. If 10% is the number, then, then let's use that. But if the board says, well, maybe not 10%, 7.5, 8, I mean, 10% gives you the most flexibility, and it sounds like that's on the upper limit of what the recommended contingency.
I mean, my understanding, to do an amended bond resolution, it's really, if you're between $700,000, $800,000, there's really no cost increase for the bond resolution, correct? I mean, it's a resolution.
I think the question is whether it's subject to permissive referendum, right?
Right, and when I reviewed the resolution that was authorizing this project from the initial get-go, that was subject to permissive referendum. And so any amendments to it would also be subject to permissive referendum.
Right.
So, we can always, I'll just let, Mr. Mayor know, all right, put the resolution together, and we can put the exact number in at the next meeting, but, so if you guys think about what that number might be between now and the next meeting, we can go from there. I don't know, I know the engineers are asking you to otherwise approve the project contingent on, legal review of the various documents associated with it, bidder qualifications.
Do we need that, the increased contingency in place prior to approving the resolution
The resolution to award.
to work, right?
I think that similarly to the other contingencies that we're putting in place, you could include that as a contingency, that approval of a additional financed amount of X, up to 10%.
So if we're gonna move forward tonight with it, we want to do that,
Right.
so just so that we, covered that contingency,
Yeah, to include that.
cost overrun.
Like you have three things, right? Contingent on post-bid qualification, attorney review, and increased contingency funds up to 10%.
Right.
Trustee, let's pick a number. Can we say up to 10%?
I think it should be 10%. You'd rather have more than good enough.
I think
I think we don't need to take it, right?
10%. Let's move. Let's go.
Do we want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Now let's go. 10.
10%.
Good. Down there, guys?
So to be clear, is this a motion to award subject to those three contingencies, the post-bid qualifications,
Yes.
attorney review, and contingency amount being authorized up to 10%?
Yes.
Yes.
My second.
Okay. Is there any public discussion on that? Vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You guys want to take a little break, maybe? Come back on Friday.
What is phase two? What's going on?
Phase two is the, replacing the digesters. It's all the biosolids, handling all the solids,
Of the,
wastewater plant.
Okay,
The whole
all right.
system, yeah.
I didn't know, I'm new to all this, so you're the man I'm wanting to talk to.
I'm Jerry.
I'm
Siegel.
Ed Keough.
Let me,
I live up on the hill, Halsted.
okay.
With this, phase two, if we didn't do it, let's say, what would be the possible ramifications to the Susquehanna?
Oh, well, it's not only the ramifications of the Susquehanna.
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds?
Yes, sir.
I meant to say something in the middle of this, which was something along the lines of, Jerry, what do you think about all this? But I didn't, I just,
Hey, Ed.
back to you.
Hey, Russ. How you doing, Randy?
So what is taking place is that the digesters themselves is a primary and a secondary digester. They've reached their life expectancy and they are no longer operating to where they need to be. Thank God we are meeting our pathogen reduction vector.
Those are the things that go around the digesters?
Well, they're supposed to be mixed, but they don't have any mixing yet. The mixers have been bad for 30 years. So
Okay.
how this whole system is working properly is beyond me. To put it in a nutshell, if we didn't go ahead with this project, you would still have to rebuild the digesters to the tune of about $5-6 million. So if you got to spend that much money to just do the digesters, and you're still going to put out a Class B sludge, spend the extra couple million dollars to go to the.
I don't disagree.
This is sweet, man. I tell you, I've been really I'm sweating it because a ton of sludge biosolids leaving the plant in a dumpster is $75.13.
That goes up to Brook.
Yeah, we're at Bath.
Okay.
Bath. So 15 tons. You're talking almost $1,200.
Right.
So I have, let's just say, roughly 50 dumpsters worth of solids.
Yeah. But the reason I wanted to...
And the reason why I have that is because the land, I can't get on it to land apply because it's so wet. So you try to go there and spread, you sink, or you're just totally stuck.
That's down by Yemen's, right? The Brownfield.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and you heard her tonight, she's getting a loan to build at 1%. They're talking 3 to 5.
Well, Steve, we have it. There was let's just say the $16 million project, the whole thing as a whole is zero.
Right.
That's a zero deal. And then when it closed, that was where it closed at. To apply for more, now that zero product is no longer available.
Okay.
Now it's at a certain percentage. And maybe there's a way that it can be worked in with EFC to reduce it. But again, I'm praying for that miracle that it's going to come through with no change orders that's going to require using it, and then you just throw it back and there's no cost. So, but the thing is that this ATAD system, having a Class A biosolid, is going to eliminate so much cost to the village, and it's going to allow us to bring in 1 million gallons of septic a month, which if I can, once we reach that and we can maintain that, we can start reducing the EDUs.
Yep.
But, so the other thing with the developers coming in, this plant has been built with, it's a 1 MGD plant, 1 million gallons a day can be accepted into that plant.
Okay.
We're currently only at half capacity. It's always been at half capacity. Half of the plant is shut down basically, because if you open it up and you try to run the whole thing, you starve it. there's not enough food.
No,
to
not
feed
coming
the
in.
bugs. So,
Somebody has to go to the bathroom more often.
so when I hear development, which is very limited in this village,
Right.
because there's no high ground, there's no place. As a matter of fact, I was told, because I'm looking at population, we used to be 3,900 back in
37 now,
14. Now it's down to like 34.
34. Right.
So that's not good. We don't want to be losing people.
Well, I don't disagree with it.
And I know that, you know, the floods has, you know, that's has cost the village tremendously.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a big issue is the combined sewer. There's combined, you have your storm sewer and you have your sanitary sewer. Well, when they're combined, that's a bad thing because, you know, every time it rains, you're spiked. Your flow goes from 350,000 to 3,500,000.
That your project.
Yeah, that's boom, like that.
Now, I wanted to ask, and probably it's been looked into, certainly you're in the Chesapeake River Bay, the Chesapeake Bay water basin.
That's what phase one was, nutrient.
And they should be providing money to small waste treatments, or even all waste treatments, to provide the clean water going into the bay.
Well, they had a lot of grants that were available, you know, but it's just, you know, okay, so you got $1 or $2 million, but $2 million is a pretty good chunk of change. But when you're talking $16 million,
It's nothing.
It's nothing, right? So it's, you know, it's just like the disinfection. Now we got to install disinfection. Disinfection, you know, that's another $1.8 million project that we got to do down there. Now, 30 years ago, the plant had disinfection. DEC came in and they rated it and they said, you guys don't need to disinfect it. So they ripped out all the disinfection equipment, they filled in the tanks, and we don't have disinfection. Now they come back and say, you gotta disinfect. We gotta have that installed by 2023. So now you got all this extra cash that you gotta be throwing.
But we're running at 50% capacity. Beautiful, that's good to know.
For the most
Because
part, it is
that
until
was
it rains,
my-
and this year has been bad.
Because it over. My concern with that is she wasn't clear on, okay, the elevations are different. There's this thing called TNT.
Blow it
Yeah.
up.
So, you know,
Yeah.
my big thing with wastewater is I don't want to see, like they have at Binghamton JC, the cranes.
Well, you know, the problem, you know, and see, that's a sore spot with me big time, because, you know, they're just pumping raw wastewater in there, that's boring, and it's taking away, all the clean water we're putting in is being overpowered big time by everything.
Well, how about you get back to business? Thanks, nice to meet you.
All right. All right, thanks, Ian.
All right, Jerry.
Take care.
Come back. We will move up. Our next item on the agenda is 19.
We have two applications for you. I'm meeting with the chair of the VOO Storage Regulation Advisory Committee. We're working hard to accommodate, usually this time of year in the fall, we get a rush of applications as people realize that the construction season is coming to an end. And because of our process under Local Law 5 of 2017, everything has to come before the board. We had an extra meeting on Friday to look at two commercial applications that came in. And each one of you should have this. There's for two properties. One is 39 Lake Street, the pedal pusher building. And the other one is 195 Main Street, the bridal, the property with the bridal store in the bottom of it. right at the top of Lake Street. So I was able to get a quorum of all 5 committee members at noon on Friday, and we were unanimous in recommending that the board approve certificates of appropriateness for both of these applications. I'll spare you reading them out loud. If you want to just, I would recommend that you do, you have to do both of them one at a time. And if you have any questions about them, I'll answer them.
I'll move for 39 Lake Street.
I second.
Okay, any discussion on that one? Yep.
Don't get me quoted, Rusty. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Good? Any vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'll make the motion for 95 Main Street also.
I wanted to just say one thing about this one. You might notice that there's a word interim is popping up in here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to explain that. One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to work with property owners who want to upgrade their building but may not have the resources right now to do it. And especially around topics like windows or pulling aside things that are rotting and kind of looking behind and saying what's there and can we keep it. And especially, Leanne, with our grant money coming in, people are saying, no, we don't really want to put a lot of money into this now out of our own pocket, maybe we'll qualify for the grant. So we are going to, during this time, try to help approve things that we call interim. They may not be our first best choice, but the property owner has agreed with us that in order to move and work on the property inside, we need to get some decent windows in there, but they're not the ones that are going to be there like forever. And we're like okay with this. We're trying to, I think it's for a betterment of the whole community. So it's a little different. We're trying to be proactive here and trying to help people. And so that's a little different than some of the applications. So you might see some of that popping up between now as we go through this whole grant application process as people learn about it and if they qualify for it. So we're going to help bridge that gap so that they can keep moving on their internal. We're not, well, it's not that we're not interested, but we don't have any purview of the stuff that goes on inside the buildings. So this way they can get started on that and move forward.
So quick question then, with the use of the word interim that typically suggests an end date. But have you discussed an end date with these folks?
They have to come back to us in order to move forward with certain things. So we're going to see them. But we don't have an exact calendar date for that because we don't know when that will be. Probably in the spring. You prefer that we have like a real
Yes, because
specific date?
if you use the word interim without an end date and time, there's no way to communicate at what point are they now out of compliance with the approval, because it sounds like it's a temporary approval.
It is, yeah.
So that's where it should probably happen.
So our motion could contemplate that
Right.
for 6 months.
I think that would be reasonable, yeah, because they're gonna try to get started on this now,
Yeah.
so that they can, in particular in this one, there are no windows in a couple of these places, and they need to get the windows up in order to work on the interior of the building. So, I would say 6 months is reasonable, if we could use that language.
Then just to be clear, I think, and I'm not suggesting that whenever the 6 months expires, I think that would just trigger them to need to reapply.
Reapply for that, right,
Then if they're faced with the same set of circumstances, the board could again approve a
right,
short duration.
right.
I'll amend my motion to accept the recommendation of the committee subject to a 6-month
We'll
limitation.
call it 6-month interim. We'll add that language.
Old school, what building is this?
This is the building when you're standing and looking north on Lake Street. It's right at the top of the bank is here, and
It's the one on the alleyway next to the
it's the
bank.
alleyway next to the bank.
Where the cookie jar used to be.
Thank you. That's the kind of reference we need for it.
Okay, I second.
Okay. Any other discussion? So vote.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much. I'll get the changed language. Did you get the changed language in that for the record? I don't have to do that. Rob?
Yes.
You okay with that? Okay.
Next item on the agenda is a VOO Board State Municipal Facilities Grant.
Where's the office?
See, the one we discussed, Jeff.
Yes.
Didn't he already, yeah, we discussed that.
So, I know Jeff and I have been talking a little bit earlier today about, so I think Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, the board needs to pass a resolution in support of the grant, and we've talked about the project scope. I think that's what the board was looking for the last time we talked about this, right?
Actually, the grant's already been awarded to us. What we needed was, whether we needed to do an environmental review. Let's see.
So that's why we needed the scope. So I talked with Jeff about what the project actually entails, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a repaving of several parking lots in the area. There's going to be some new fencing, replacing existing fencing. There's going to be some electrical upgrades done, so it's existing electrical stuff that's getting upgraded, presumably to current code and better equipment.
Correct.
And then there's also going to be 4 lights placed in the park that are similar to, how did you describe it?
They're similar to the accent lighting around the village, streetscape lighting, basically.
So when considering that type of work, which is reconstruction or replacement of existing structures or facilities in kind to the current existing ones, that's all what's under secret type 2 action. So the board can simply say, or declare that it's a type 2 action, no further environmental review is needed for this project.
All right, so I'll move and make that motion.
Second.
Now, Rod, I'll need a copy of that as soon as you can get it to me. Because I have to add it to there's quite a list of what we got to send back for this, for the $110 grand actually to be awarded to us. And that's one of them.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
So next item is fireman's plaque request for the William G. Palmer Foundation. This is just a normal thing. In the last board meeting, we were looking for more information on the plaque.
Yeah, we wanted the language right.
Right. And the plaque will read, if it's awarded the money, it will read erected to the memory of George Homewater Baker as chief of the Owego Fire Department, August 26, 1914.
I will make that motion.
Second, we discussed it last time.
Yeah, it was just a letter to say that if they get this plaque, they can put it on our land.
Yep.
So vote
Yes.
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 And who seconded it, sorry?
I did.
Thanks, Jerry.
We've done all show.
We'll do the next one too.
The next one? Next one is reappoint Chief Henry. So when we did this one, we did it for 90 days. So,
Do we need an executive session to discuss?
And does the board have questions that they'd like to ask me, kind of about just what you can do and get legal advice about timing and all that stuff, or we could
My questions are about timing and about Chief Kennedy's willingness to stay on, what length of time he might be willing to serve for us.
Let me help you with that. He doesn't have a choice.
Were we looking to plan for another 90 days? Is that the
Yeah.
idea?
Well, you got a fair point. I mean, too nice of you guys. Do you want me to talk on this?
Oh, I didn't know you were here.
It's because I fell asleep.
get like questions really about how we got here, and what
Chief.
considerations that go into it.
No, I'm willing to whatever you guys need at this point. But at some point, obviously, I need to make some sort of longer-term decisions, probably. But I only want to help out if you guys think I'm still helping
I'd like to call for an executive session.
Okay. Need a motion for that?
Motion for executive session, please.
And a vote?
Yes.
Yes. Good question.
I was telling you, well,
Have a great night.
Nate, do we take notes in the executive session, is that permissible, or how's that work?
I'll tell you over here.
Okay.
Just hold them in already.
Seriously.
Permanent.
Test is in April, you wanna say, right?
What's that?
She's tested in April, right?
I think it's in March.
Is it? Oh, okay, maybe they get the results in April.
March and results coming out end of April,
Yeah, that might be what.
May, like for
Is
this.
the deputy chief there?
And then do the, actually, promotional.
Really? Oh, so I need to do it.
He probably could do that.
You gonna make this quick or what?
You must have said something to her.
I told her, hurry up and vote on it. Permanently.
Rod, you